So welcome to Cooking with Heart for Cancer Class 2. So today we're going to explore the rainbow. I do want to let you know next week, I am changing up one of the recipes, the kale saute smoky. I love that recipe. I do find people are not as crazy about kale as I am. So I have a new recipe I tested out and it's so fun. Anybody like monkey bread? Yeah, we make monkey bread every Christmas. That's the only time we make monkey bread. But this is kind of like monkey bread, but cauliflower, okay? So you can pull it apart, the head off with this tomato kind of spicy, curry-ish topping that just flows over. So anyways, it's a lot of fun to eat and it's delicious. So, and it's easy to make. We only steam it for 10 minutes, the cauliflower, and the sauce cooks while we're steaming it. So it doesn't take more than 15 minutes in total. So we'll do that next week in addition to the stir fry. So a big thank you to everybody and your questions and emailing me and staying after and asking questions. I learned from you. So if I don't know the answer, then I will find out. So just keep them coming. I have a guest today that has some great information to share. So I am going to highlight Kelly here so that she can share. She is from Gilda's Club. So I think you're on the screen highlighted there, Kelly. So go ahead and say hi and go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. Well, I'm Kelly Kraft, a program manager and social worker at Gilda's Club Quad Cities. Thanks for having me. I just want to give a little information about Gilda's Club and one of our specialty programs today, and then we'll join you again another day. But in general, Gilda's Club Quad Cities is a cancer support community, and we provide 100% free social and emotional support to anyone impacted by cancer. So that means a person with an active diagnosis now, that means survivors, friends and family, kids and teens who are impacted by their own diagnosis or a diagnosis of a loved one, and people who've lost someone to cancer. And then we have programs like support groups for each of the populations that we serve. We have educational workshops, healthy lifestyle activities like yoga and meditation, social get-togethers, and then we're also a hub for resources and referrals. And we have 2 clubhouses now. One at Unity Point Trinity in Moline, and then one inside Genesis West over in Davenport. So that's kind of like our basic programming. And I want to also introduce you to one of our lesser known programs called Open Options. Almost everything at Gilda's Club is in group format, but this is one of the few one-on-one things that we offer. Open Options is a cancer treatment decision-making session designed for people who are at a fork in the road in their cancer treatment. So maybe they've been told by a doctor that they need to make a decision regarding their treatment, like if someone with breast cancer has the option of like a bilateral mastectomy or theoretically like a lumpectomy with additional treatments added on. Both have pros and both have cons, and that can weigh on your mind and you have to make a decision. So folks can sit down with one of our social workers and go through their situation, their network, the options on the table as they see them, their goals, both treatment and life goals, and then leave with a list of questions for their doctor. And the idea is if they get the answers to those questions, they have all the tools that they need to make that decision. It doesn't make it for them, but it does give all the tools that they need. So if that sounds interesting or any of the other things that I mentioned during my couple of minutes here, just give us a call or go on our website to get connected.
Awesome. Kelly, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh,
yes.
Quick question. How many people do you have in person? I'm so curious.
12 right now.
Nice. Awesome. We'll have
Yes, I know. So yes, we've got a great class going on. So super excited. So thank you, Kelly. So yes, Gilda's Club is a sponsor of the classes. So big thank you to Gilda's Club, Trinity Foundation. And like she said, that service, that one-on-one when you're at fork in the road for some type of decision, critical decision with your cancer treatment, you can sit down and get, some ideas, somebody listening, somebody, a social worker that can look over and kind of bring to light some things to consider. So they don't make the decision for you, but they help you work through the many facets, and then you feel more confident in your decision. So awesome. So, okay. I wanted to say something. Last week, we talked about green tea a lot. That's a go, go, go. Now, green tea tastes like grass. Okay, so, and if grass is not like an appetizing thing for you, there's some alternatives. I do have the matcha. Matcha is the ground up green tea. It's ceremonial and it's a little pricey, but it's like equivalent kind of to 10 cups of green tea, I call it. I have the recipe for that here if you want that. The other thing is, another person that attended class, she shared that when she did ginger with the tea, that peppery, the kick of the ginger really helped. And she got raw ginger, just about, you know, she said the size of your like thumb right there, and just dropped it in the boiling water. And she actually would do a whole like pitcher, and then she'd put it in the refrigerator, and she could heat it up or she could eat it cold. So she made her green tea with the ginger that way. I also looked online, adding things like lavender, chamomile, those kind of things help somewhat with the green tea flavor if that's not a great match for you. Jasmine's another one that was brought up. And do remember the lemon was a great match. We're going to talk more about that, but lemon is a great match actually for many reasons for the green tea. And if you like, they suggested, one recommendation was to twist the lemon if you do a fresh lemon, because you'll get some of the lemon oil then, just a little bit, a drop, but that helps kind of clean up the grassiness a little bit. So those are some tips. Try them out, come back, tell us if they helped you.
What does ceremonial mean when you use that with matcha?
Ceremonial, good question, Carolyn. So there's a whole ceremony, if you look into green tea, that it's covered, shaded. There's kind of a, it's treated very fragilely, like the ceremonial. There's some other matcha that's not, that's a little more industrial treated. And so
you should look for the ceremony.
yeah, because it's not going to be destroyed as much, the catechins. So it's a little pricey again. So again, it's one of many strategies. Don't feel like, you know, like, oh my goodness, I need to like spend lots of money. No, I'm really about all kinds of strategies we're sharing. Do what you can, work them in baby steps. Okay. So today, I want to hear from you. So I want to hear your learnings this last week, things that you tried out, maybe an herb or spice or something that you added in just even one time is fantastic. So here or online, if you want to go ahead and send through the chat or take yourself off mute, and share, please. Yes.
So my mother, God love her, she's she's not here, but she did both of these. I messed up, I think, on the wrap thing. The
Homestead
beans and rice, because I think I got the beans too mushy because then it was kind of clumpy.
Okay.
But then we still ate it. We put it on a staff and threw it out. And then the donuts, she did the donuts yesterday and they were undercooked, and then we tried to cook them more, and then they were much better. So the squirrel got the donuts.
Okay. So those are learnings, Kathy.
But she tried.
So you mashed the beans too much. So you'll next time you know. So now next time when it turns out perfect, you're like, I know why this is perfect. So, and the sunrise donuts, you're gonna continue to work on those?
She doesn't know. She wasn't.
Okay. So other learning. Other things, adding things in, thinking about reading labels. You're here. So anything from the home audience, the virtual. Hi, Kathy. Hi, do you want to share something?
Yes, I made the golden chai tea, or whatever, the drink.
Yes.
And I might have put in a little too much black pepper. It was very peppery.
Okay.
So I put in 3 shakes from my pepper shaker, but I added all the other ingredients exactly at what was prescribed or in the book, you know, and then got the
Yeah.
almond milk. So I was able to finish up the entire cup, you know,
Okay.
but it was, I had to have some mint gum afterwards to get rid of that peppery
Okay.
feeling in my mouth.
Okay.
So
Okay.
otherwise I enjoyed it. So I wish I would maybe have not used the pepper in the beginning. So I don't know what's the purpose of adding that pepper in there.
Oh, well, thank you. You asked a great question, Kathy. So the turmeric in there, we're going to learn more about this in the 4th class, but turmeric has curcumin in there, and it's not cumin. At first I thought it was cumin. It's curcumin. That is the secret thing in turmeric. Turmeric is one of the top herbs that is anti-cancer. So it's the curcumin, and the curcumin is absorbed 2,000% more with just a fleck of pepper. Pepper has an anti-inflammatory in it. So, Kathy, you're welcome to back down to 1 shake, but I would still try for 1 shake in there. You just need a little bit for that turmeric. So yes, so thank you for asking. So ginger also is pretty strong. So I don't know, kind of figure out, make your own recipe, make a note, 1 shake pepper or 3 too much. So these are things I want you to do. We're all different. Okay. And so I want you to find what works for you, Kathy.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes.
Char.
Go ahead,
I don't know
Char.
why my name's not coming up, but I take turmeric capsules every day. I have for a long time. Is that good, or should I be getting it through food? And
Make sure you talk to your doctor, especially if you're on treatment, because it can interact with chemo and some things.
Okay.
So it's that strong. So, and always when we're getting something like as a capsule, just double check that it's been tested, that it is what you think it is. That's my big thing there. And I think with turmeric, you're getting the turmeric in the capsule. So you're probably getting like a half a teaspoon. So it's not like you're getting 2,000 times, like some powerful something. So you're fine, and that's great. I actually don't dissuade that. I would check and see if they have any pepper in it, and if not, just see if occasionally you can eat it with some pepper. Because, like I said, it's the secret power of that is a curcumin. So yeah,
that is like the pepper, the curcumin.
Say that again.
Turmeric with the curcumin is the pepper like.
Pepper
element?
isn't in turmeric typically in the spice,
Okay.
so you have to add it. So it's just a little bit that you need, just a shake for most of what we're doing. So if you're serving the whole family, a couple shakes. So it might already have it in there because the capsule might be protecting that kind of cough factor that you might be getting. So, but double check the label, because if I was a manufacturer, I would definitely include pepper. So,
and I've heard that like taking 2 of those a day help with joint pain. My sister-in-law was saying something for that.
It depends upon the root cause of the joint pain. It could.
Okay.
So I'll just leave that kind of open. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I didn't go for that, but I take one a day though. So I'll check with my doctor.
Turmeric has a lot of strong evidence for cancer. It's way up there. So for me as a strategy. So I'm not going to dissuade, because again, you're just getting probably a half a teaspoon or so in a capsule. So it's not like this monstrous amount, but I want you to get it. So that's great.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Great questions. Other sharing? Okay. So, all right. Love hearing these. I just want to emphasize last week in the home style dish, that the chili powder, we want to make sure we're not using Tones and McCormick because they add salt. So just get another brand. It can be an off brand. Usually you should be able to read the list of ingredients, and it doesn't have sodium, and it should say 0 sodium, but just make sure of that. Okay. So let's see, next week, anti-inflammatory and meal planning, we're going to be talking about there. There are so many programs and kits about planning your meals and stuff, and you know, they usually work for a short period of time. I'm going to give you some foundational things that you can pivot and adjust as you go throughout life. Okay, so let's hop on over to the PowerPoint for today and go into the rainbow. I'm clicking. Come on, come on, come on, come. Try one more. There we go. My goodness. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, have you ever wondered why M&Ms and Skittles are so hard to resist? Well, let's put aside the dopamine from the sugar. So, but our eyes are drawn to color. You notice they don't make them all brown for a reason. Well, there are M&Ms, but they do like the colors in there. So our eyes are drawn to that. And Skittles didn't invent, you know, eat the rainbow. Mother Nature is the original creator of that, and she knew what she was doing. So phytochemicals are what we're talking about here. They're responsible for the color. And phytochemicals, I use that word chemicals. A lot of nutritionists use the word phytonutrition or nutrients. I'm just like, well, we're confusing that with the vitamins and minerals that we talk about for growth and that kind of thing. So it's a little thing. Don't let the word chemical make you like freak out. So it's just natural compounds found in the plants. Phyto is a Greek word for plant. So they're plant compounds. So now here's the thing. They really are, when we break it down, phytochemicals are defenses that the plant has created over thousands plus years to help it grow and flourish and, you know, bloom and create its fruit or whatever it is that, you know, it's creating. So because think about it. So let's, you know, just boil it down. A plant has to start off as this tiny micro seedling, and, you know, through water and sunshine, a little soil, it grows, grows, grows. But during that path, that journey, it has rainstorms, it has lightning, it has predators, it has pests, it has radiation from the sun, it has pollution that we're putting out all the time. And all these things, the plant stays put in the soil, growing. And, you know, sometimes, you know, after a rainstorm, we see the plants are kind of wilted, but they'll come back and they'll flourish and they'll grow bigger. So it's amazing. So, you know, they don't have sunscreen, sunglasses, they don't have air conditioning to run into, they don't have, you know, to run out of the pollution, get inside. You know, if a pest comes along, it doesn't have a bat to bat it off. So what it's done, Mother Nature has created these defense systems. So these phytochemicals are a way of defending against all that it has to journey against in order to grow and blossom. So we know that there's probably, right now we've cataloged maybe about 25,000. We only know probably a couple hundred really well. Most fruits and vegetables have at least 2,000 in them each, different ones. So an apple has 10,000. So these are amazing. So they're different antioxidants, different anti-inflammatory. They're different enzyme modulators that speed things up when you need to speed them, slow them down when you need to slow them down. So I really like to think of phytochemicals. To me, that has gone to be my #1 reason for eating plants. Not the vitamins, minerals, yes, the fiber too. So, but the phytochemicals in them are just mind-boggling how they help us. They're gifts that we don't realize we're missing out in. So a lot of them are in the seeds and then the skins of the plant. That's why it's really important to try and eat the skin and eat some of the, you'll notice on lettuce that the outer parts of them are darker green a lot of times. That's their protection there. And I make sure I eat that. And a lot of times I toss out once you get down to the lighter, you know, watery down green stuff, because I know there's not as much chlorophyll in there. So, so now, what do the studies show? Well, you know, kind of like I alluded to last week, I don't mean to, you know, buzzkill, but nutrition science you have to be patient. And it takes a lot of experiments and observations for us to find strong evidence to support these things. However, we have a lot of good information about these things, and we don't get into what we call toxic amounts when we're eating whole foods. So, and they work together. That's the thing that people don't understand, is all these things work together really well. Some of them need carriers to transport across, others don't, they go freely. Some of them are converted in the body, and all of that has to happen in a certain progression with everything going on. So it's just amazing how this happens, and it really happens in whole food really, really well. So, okay, so when we talk about phytochemical grouping, I know this slide is really hard to see, and I'm not expecting anybody to really spend much time here, but at the top level, you probably have seen and read some of those names there. So this is kind of the grouping. There's phytochemicals, and then they break down to the carotenoids, the phenolic compounds, the alkalins, nitrogen, so all these breakdowns, I'm sure some of them you haven't heard about, but this is how we break them down, and we're still discovering more and more. So seeing this and thinking about what I'm talking about, do you want to eat more of one food that has a lot of phytochemicals in it, or do you want to eat a variety of foods to get a variety of these compounds? Which do you think? Variety, yeah, a variety. And that's where the rainbow concept comes in. It's really helpful to make sure you're getting a variety. Now, you'll notice that there's different groupings. There's a 5 grouping and a 7 grouping that breaks these down. If you're looking at rainbow kind of categorization, Mother Nature didn't really say, well, I think I'm going to break these down to 7. Okay, so we just try. There's crossover. We have anthocyanins in one group and another group. So, but we're going to go through the group to just kind of get familiar. But your best bet is colors to categorize things at. So there's over 50 antioxidants. Over 50 antioxidants. Anti-inflammatory, we're going to talk about that more in depth next week. These are ways when the plant gets damaged, it has ways of healing. And that's what we eat when we eat the phytochemicals. We eat their healing. We eat their kind of police force, their fire brigade, their Coast Guard, their 911, emergency response. That's what we eat in a sense when we eat plants. Okay, so color. So, color, like I said, is the easiest way of breaking down these different foods. So when we talk about them, so color has a purpose. Green is chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is great for pollution, for doing things there. So here are just some of the roles that phytochemicals do related to cancer prevention. And again, I know this list, I'm not expecting you to be able to see that, but I just want you to know that there are so many things that trip up, halt, slow down cancer progression that are in plants that I want you to get. So there's 10 steps to cancer that are common to all cancers. And so each of these phytochemicals works at different steps. And some we want multiple working at each step. So, we're going to talk about colors and the different things. So the antioxidants put out the flame of inflammation. We get free radicals when we get damage. And the free radicals are searching for that missing electron, and if they don't get it, they get in trouble. So that's where antioxidants can help out. So red's the first one, red, pink. This one's rich in a carotenoid. Remember, carotenoid was the highest classification. So one's called lycopene that we find in this group. We also find these anthocyanins that are antioxidants that are super powerful. So the red kind of puts out the fires of some of the gene damaging free radicals that we find. It's great for prostate cancer, heart and lung disease. Many are high in vitamin C. So that's an antioxidant. So of course we have strawberries, pomegranates, apples, red grapes, red peppers, red onions. Again, we're grouping them according to the color here. Tomatoes. Now, tomato has the lycopene, and it's best cooked there, that one, because it releases some compounds there. It's better absorbed. Whereas those that are high in vitamin C, we typically want to do them raw. You don't have to follow these like to the T. We're going to get a little more into that, but in general, that's how we go. Yellow orange has the carotenoid called beta-cryptoxanthin. Sounds like money or something, the crypto money. So it's a provitamin A carotenoid, and it helps with intracellular communication. It's a powerful antioxidant, converts to vitamin A in your body. Your body will do that. So we've got carrots, sweet potatoes, yellow peppers, oranges, bananas, pumpkin, mango, corn, cantaloupe. So you want to eat in a mixed meal typically, because these tend to be higher in starch. Deep orange, like the carrots, are cooked best or steamed, again, a little oil. And then the water soluble ones are typically better raw, like the mango and the orange. Corn is thrown in here too. It has lutein, which is a carotenoid, and it's fat soluble, so you want to cook it. So again, general rules. I'm not going to again, you get a lot of benefit even if you break these rules. So green is super rich. We have the sulforaphane in the cruciferous. A lot of cruciferous are in the green here. That's your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, your cabbages. So we get the isocyanates in the indoles. We'll talk more about that in class 4. You get vitamin K, C, E, powerful antioxidants. Also, in some of these dark green, you actually get 3 in 1. The dark green, like spinach, Swiss chard, kale, turnip greens, dandelion, collard, and peas, they are 3 colors, but our eye is picking up green. They are actually orange, yellow, and green. So you're getting 3 in 1. So you're getting more than just one. And then there's other things like kiwi, green tea, asparagus, alfalfa sprouts, a lot of anti-inflammatory here. Avocados in here, anti-inflammatory, has 9 grams of fiber, 700 milligrams of potassium. And one thing that's lesser known about blood pressure is that you really want a 3-to-1 ratio of potassium to sodium. And actually, I wish we would follow that than just say down with the sodium. But the problem is most people aren't even close to the amount of potassium that we need for that. There was a study they did where they had subjects eat hamburger, fries, milkshake. Okay. So kind of stuff we're not going to push here. So, and they measured their markers for inflammation and their triglyceride. And then they had them eat the hamburger, fries, and milkshake and half an avocado. Can you guess what happened? Their anti-inflammatory markers did not go up. They blunted the inflammation. And the triglyceride did not go up. Pretty amazing. Now, the point is not to eat avocado with your milkshake and fries and burger, okay? The point is, I do try and add, I don't, half of avocado is a lot of avocado for just density, but I do try and add avocado pretty regularly, at least, a couple slices there. So it's just so packed with nutrition. So, and it adds nice flavor.
Every meal you eat.
I'd say probably an average every other day. Probably every other day.
One meal.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I know the whole trick about inflammation. So if I know I'm going to have something that's we're not encouraging in this class, So I will probably go, oh, avocado's right. Let me make sure I eat some of that. Okay. I'm not saying it's like you can eat a lot of this and then a little bit. Okay. We're not getting, but it's, being conscious of. So yeah. Okay. So blue purple. So blue purple has, again, these anthocyanins. Remember I said that in the red, but it's not red. It has anthocyanins. So it delays cellular aging. It prevents blood clots in the blue. It has ellagic, ELLAGIC. It's a flavonoid that helps prevent cancer. It's very powerful. It's in the green tea too. This is the hardest one for people to get, unless you have, like me, blueberries every single morning in your oatmeal. Okay, but minus that, this is the hardest one to get because we only have blueberries, blackberries, purple grapes, raisins, eggplant, plums, figs, lavender, and purple cabbage. And that's about it. Okay. And
Is
kind
red
of what I call,
grapes,
sorry?
is red grapes like similar to the purple grapes?
Well,
And-
it'd have to be purple. No, it has to be. There's
purple.
red
Okay.
and there's purple.
Okay.
So if you want to get the ellagic, you're going to have to get purple. Great question. So the different green and the red and the purple all offer different things. Now they have some crossover too, but some of the uniqueness in the blue purple that we want to make sure we get, you got to get the blue purple. So
Okay.
thank you for asking.
Thanks.
So it takes a little more intentionality, I'd say, with the blue purple, unless again, like I have it every single morning. I have frozen blueberries. I do try and rotate in some wild blueberries. I kind of pause at the cost to do it all the time. Okay, I'm being totally transparent. So I kind of rotate. I'm like, okay, 2 bags of this and then 1 of this, because it's like 12 or 14 bucks for that big bag of wild blueberries. And the wild blueberries are smaller. Okay, a lot of people will say, but Teresa, organic's better. I'm like, actually, the research bears out, in this case, not. Okay, the wild are wild. Okay, so that means they have, in general, I mean, they are cultivated, so they're not truly wild. Nobody's gone out into the deep blue forest and gathered them, but they have more protective defensive mechanisms because they've had to build this up, and they have more skin because they're smaller and because they're more exposed. So they offer more defense system. This doesn't always play out to be true, but we tested this with the blueberries. So in the case of blueberries, I always opt, if I have a choice, for small wild over organic. Okay, but again, like I said, truthfully, they are pretty pricey. You can get them at Walmart and Hy-Vee. It's spotty Walmart. Is there anywhere else you can get the wild? Costco has the small wild. Okay, so those are the places you can get them. So, but like me, I know, I'm doing lots of things, so I'm not going to feel guilty about switching out. So
I have half a banana and half a cup of blueberries. Would be better to just go with the blueberries with my oatmeal.
rotating is so good.
Oh,
So
right.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't deter that. It's totally up to you. What do you
Right.
prefer? Yeah. So what do you prefer? So there's a lot of good potassium in that and the banana, but there's a lot of things with potassium. So we always think of our go-to is the banana for potassium, but tomatoes and potatoes have a lot of potassium. There's a lot of things. A lot of greens have potassium. So the white, tan, brown, this one has allicin. It's anti-tumor, antibacterial, creatine, immune. We have things like onions and garlic and cauliflower and leeks and mushroom. So there's a lot of good things here, even though we are kind of lacking more so in the color. Okay, so raw or cooked? That's a question that comes up. And, it's not, I don't want you to think black or white, but in general, we say carrots should be cooked, tomatoes and corn to release. They actually are richer in stuff that we can absorb when they're cooked. So, and you can kind of what we call overcook them. It's not like just 2 minutes. Go ahead and stew them and roast them and all that. It's fine. And tomatoes. So then slightly cook those in the paragraph there. Spinach, mushrooms, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, pepper. So more like a light steaming, again, to release them. We're going to find out more on some of those in the 4th class. And that's the cruciferous. Yes, question.
I just.
You want to go back there?
Should we, is it worth writing that down?
Well, in general, you know, I think lightly steamed, the only one there, the peppers and the cabbage are probably less done. The other things I think, and spinach, but spinach raw, I do a lot of. So yeah, but I also put it on, you know, dishes like at the last minute, the spinach. But don't be afraid to throw it into things. So yeah. So again, don't feel like this is black and white. Yes, Jennifer?
So you say some of the good stuff is released when it's cooked.
Yes.
Is it released into the water or is it released?
Yes, it's released. So whatever it's cooking in. So I wouldn't cook it like in boiling water for a long time. So I would make sure it's cooked in like a stew or a sauce. Next week, we're going to make a tomato sauce with diced tomatoes. So that's going to be great. We're going to do that for like 7 minutes or so, cook it.
It's contained in the sauces. Otherwise, if you're just boiling it, it would be lost.
Right. It would be, yeah. So that's where typically we cook these longer. And I mean, the corn, we could, you know, corn is oftentimes cooked in water, boiled. So yeah, steaming wood. And corn is going to be, it's going to be broken down a lot in the, I don't think it's released into the water too much. I'll have to look that up. That's a good question with the corn. I'll look that up because I want to be sure because we're coming up in summer. So
When I roast my vegetables, I put them in a little bone broth.
yeah,
And put them in the thing,
yeah.
and then that's how I cook.
Okay, so Bonnie,
Keep the flavor.
right, Bonnie does a little flavoring there with the bone broth roasting and then you
Mm.
include that. Yeah. So good
Um,
question, Jennifer. So I'll come back to that.
I have a question on the
so-
potatoes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick question. What about eating the skin? Is that nutrients?
Yes,
of
well,
potatoes.
for the white potatoes, yes. Anything
Okay.
white potato, you're missing the fiber, and there are going to be some phytochemicals there. For the sweet potato, it would be
Oh, yeah.
great with the
Right.
skin, but you can do it off because we get fiber. We get a lot of stuff. Remember this, the flesh of the sweet potato is orange. So we're getting a lot in there. So
Okay.
some of my recipes, I peel it. Some of the recipes, I keep it on. So with the sweet potatoes, but as much as you can with the white potatoes, yes. Good question. So cruciferous, okay, let me get this, where it snooze at. Cruciferous, we want a little bit raw, but in general, we steam it. We'll talk in the 4th class how to do that because there's a little bit to get the most out of it that we want to do. So cruciferous, again, are those more bitter, and the bitter is coming from the plant wants to ward off pests that bite it. So it's a magnificent defense system. Now roasting, which I love to do, and we're doing today, you are going to destroy some nutrients. Vitamin C and B vitamins are destroyed by heat. So, that's where the water soluble, the oranges, mango, things like that. We want to have raw kiwi, things like that. We want to complement them. So you are going to destroy some things with the roasting. But again, the bottom line is you want to eat it. So if you love that, I do a lot of roasting. So I'll do that, but I also have raw. So just making sure you have a variety of things. So eating the rainbow. So looking at the action steps, look at your shopping cart after you've gone through the produce section. Are you seeing a lot of color? Even going to the produce section first is what, for some people, that's one way of building in more produce. Purchasing frozen, we're going to do here today. Purchase a vegetable or fruit in a color that you haven't seen in a while in your repertoire. And then another one is just try and have meals with 2 colors. So that really helps. Dark green, and then a yellow or orange or red is a really great complement. Looks great on the plate. And it also, you're getting a variety of things there. Going back, you should have a picture of this in your binder. So noticing that half of that is plants there with the vegetables and the fruits, a little higher on the vegetables. And then we have the whole grains, intact grains. We've talked about those. So we at least have 3/4 plants. 3/4 of what you're eating should be plants. Some of us aren't really there yet, but we're moving that direction. So just, start being conscious of what is on your plate. The healthy protein could be animal or plant-based. Okay, so let's make it back here. And let's get cooking some broccoli. So I want to switch my camera. Oh, no, I want it on. I want to go here and switch. Where's my devices? Okay, meeting info, meeting notes, video effects. What? Settings, there we go. Device settings. And we'll switch to room camera. Okay, now you should be seeing my hands here. Do we see my hands? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, so broccoli, we're gonna start with that because I want to get that in. So we're gonna roast frozen broccoli. Now you can roast fresh. Okay, nothing wrong with that. And it's a great way to, if your broccoli is kind of getting close to going, just roast it. That's what I do with vegetables all the time. When they're about ready to go, they get a little crinkles in them. Roast them, they'll be great. So, but I also want you to know, if you look at your refrigerator and you go, I have no vegetables, that you can always do roasting frozen. So we're going to roast broccoli frozen. So now the trick here, first of all, is to get the florets, not just get generic broccoli, because then you're going to be picking through to get the florets. So we want to get the florets. And you can use a 10 or 12 ounce bag. You can use half this if you wanted to, if it's one person, but I've been known to eat the whole bag. So, so I'm just going to take it from frozen, and I'm going to toss just a teensy bit of oil. You don't have to do oil, but you know what? If you're learning something, your vitamins A, D, E, K are called fat soluble. They're actually absorbed better with a teeny bit of oil. Okay, so don't be afraid of a little bit. So I'm just going to toss. Yes, I know not everything's going to get covered. These are tiny florets, honestly. I've had other classes, so I've done this where the florets have been chunkier, the florets. So I'm just going to, this is like, these are tiny, okay, but I'm just giving you that heads up. So the cooking time, I'll give you some guidelines there because we're kind of small here. So the trick is I'm just going to take off the small little pieces and leave the bigger ones here and the little stems. Yeah. So we want the florets. I think they kind of misnomered this, calling some of these all florets because we got some stems in there. So but the little pieces are just going to burn to high heaven. So, because we want everything to be the same. So we want things to be the same height, and we want to put them separate apart. You don't just dump it and then have it all crowded together because it's going to need to steam because we're getting the roasting going. So I'm just going to spread these out. They are going to shrink up. So those of you that are here, you can see I did 2 pans earlier. So, and they shrunk down pretty small. I didn't realize. I'm going to watch next time I get florets and get a little bigger florets. Now, the problem with when you go bigger florets is they can get huge, like huge florets. Well, then what we do is we're going to cook them a little bit and then take them out and chop them because they're too big. If they're too big, then they're all going to get done at different times. So let's just call these are little florets. So, okay, then we're going to take a little mustard, and we're going to learn about mustard in the 4th class, but we're just going to add a little bit of shaken of mustard on here. And we can add a little dash of salt if we want something else. Nutritional yeast is another possible seasoning that I do on top of roasted veggies. I also add it just before I eat roasted veggies all the time. So nutritional yeast has fiber, it has vitamins, it has next to no sodium. So it's a great way to go.
Just right on top.
Yeah, you could put it right on top, or you could do it before you eat it. But here, I'd probably do it on top here. But my roasted veggies that I do in bulk, I will add it when I'm heating that up and eating them. So we're just going to put this in. So now, again, if you have the huge honkin' pieces, I would do 15 minutes and then take them out and chop those in half. Get them down to the size of the others because it's the height. Because we want all of them to be dark brown tidbits on top. That's roasting the perfect way. So let me explain and back up and explain. Roasting is two things that happen. Caramelization first, at 330 it starts degrees. And then when we go through caramelization, we turn any carb sugars to caramely, sweeter. So that's carrots, that's going to be red peppers, tomatoes, things like that. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, they don't have carb really, so to speak of. So what's going to happen is we have to go through the caramelization and go higher heat, longer. That's why we do like 425, because we want to get to what we call the aromatic compounds. That's what develops later in the caramelization process. And that happens with the broccoli and the Brussels sprouts. Anybody here love Brussels sprouts roasted but not raw? Yeah. Okay, I can't eat them raw. Ugh. So, but that's because it's the aromatic compounds. There's not sugar or carb in Brussels sprouts. You want that brown, deep brown bits. So that's what we're trying to do with the broccoli. Broccoli's the same. And you got to get that dark brown. And I want to teach you how. Now, you can do this with fresh broccoli. Fresh broccoli is going to be the same. We cut the florets, okay? And I'm very careful when I cut the florets to make sure I get the height pretty similar. I don't get on a measuring stick or anything, but I just know I'm not concerned with how pretty the florets look. I'm more concerned with the height. So I cut the bushel of the floret. I'll just cut right down, half an inch, half an inch, half an inch. If it's pretty thick with the stem, I'll cut it in half that way. But then so that I'm pretty much even, not exactly, but pretty much with it sitting on the pan, half an inch apart-ish. And then I put it in the oven, and it's usually a little less. It's more like air fryer, it takes 10 minutes. And if, you know, a regular raw broccoli floret, it's going to be higher than that, okay? So it's around 20 minutes, I find. Now, when you get the big broccoli florets that are frozen, it takes more like 25 to 35 minutes because you want to get that deep, dark brown. So, yes.
Question on the broccoli, if you use fresh or the florets.
Yeah.
What I always seem to do is I get a bowl of water and I put a little bit of salt in it because I don't really like salt.
Yeah.
But then I tip them upside down to see if there's any bugs or anything that comes with it. Or is that something I really need to do? And I rinse it off with water, get salt.
The broccoli.
Yeah,
So, oh, you put salt in it to destroy the bugs?
yeah, to see if they come out of it.
Okay, I've never heard that. Anybody else heard about that? No, that's a new trick. No, I think if, you know, if I was getting it straight from the farm, I'd be worried about that, but I wouldn't be so worried. I've not encountered that from the grocery store broccoli that I bought, just rinsing it off. So you can take like a tub, you know, for vegetables, sometimes it's nice to do this, put the water in, swish it around, and then lift it out, and then things will fall out sometimes. So, yeah. Okay, I've not heard that, Bonnie. So if anybody has, let me know. So, but you know, so there are some vegetables that we do need to watch out for that. But I'm not aware of broccoli. So this is, I just want to show you because we're gonna run out of time probably for those virtually. You can see how these got very small. Okay, now, but they are beautiful dark brown. Okay, that's what we want is beautiful dark brown. Okay. I would probably, this was Hy-Vee's brand of broccoli floret. So it was this or a huge Hawken 4-pound bag. I was like, no, of another brand. So
I don't see it.
yes, parchment. Okay, thank you for bringing it up, Carolyn. I did have before, back when I started this a couple years ago, I was using aluminum foil. I just try and avoid aluminum foil. In general, vegetables are a big question mark, but whenever you have acid, so lemon, or proteins. So fish, chicken, do not use aluminum foil, okay, right next to it. Use parchment. So if you need to wrap something tightly, I'll wrap it in parchment and then the aluminum around it. So it's never next to it. But we know the protein and the lemon or acid
So like
do.
if you cook fish on the grill in foil to steam it with vegetables, you can't really do that.
You know, once in a blue moon,
Okay.
okay, but I would not make a habit of it, no. No, I wouldn't.
Because it brings aluminum out of the paper.
Mhm.
into the foil.
Yeah, it might grow, but it's something we don't want to help on a regular level. So somebody's doing a cookout for you and they're doing it, just go with it.
Fish in the oven, if you put olive oil on it or something, parchment paper or something.
Yeah, parchment. The biggest thing with parchment when you get to 400 is you need to trim it. Okay, I've learned that because what are you going to have in the kitchen if you don't trim it at 400? You're going to have fire. Yeah, I can guarantee it. So, yeah. So you got to, it's called not being so lazy, you know, cutting it so that it's the right shape. Yeah. Okay, rainbow wrap time. So pretty. So I actually was funny when the staff was in here and he goes, wow, that looks so pretty. I said, there we go. It's rainbow wrap. He had no idea it's rainbow wrap. So I want to show you how to cut a couple of these things and how to store. So
you shouldn't cook on foil at all.
well, I mean, I use foil to cover things all the time.
But I mean,
So on top of it, not really. I would, you know, get a glass container or, you know.
Yeah.
I know we used to do that, but I've moved way away from that. So here's a cute little cabbage. I don't know why they're so small. Maybe I don't.
I'm gonna need a whole page next to me.
Okay, Carolyn. Okay. She's taking lots of notes. Yes.
These little tidbits.
Oh,
Gosh.
yes.
Write a cookbook. I was
Oh.
gonna do that too.
Yes. Oh, I've thought about that, but I much prefer teaching. So it's much more fun. Yes. Yes. So the cabbage here, to keep it, it will keep quite a while if you keep the stem here moist. Once you cut it open, now that kind of cuts open, it's days. But just a damp paper towel in the bag that you get it in or another plastic bag. I have a ton of plastic bags that I just rinse out and I have a baby bottle hanger from the days way back. So you can get those at garage sales too, but they're great for hanging baggies because I go through a lot and I don't like to toss them if I don't have to. So for this one, you know, normally you probably are like, yeah, Teresa, I just cut. Yeah. But I'm going to show you a new way to cut a cabbage so that we get more strips. So, and notice I've gone with the purple cabbage. Now there is a difference between the green and the purple. This has much higher antioxidant. The other has more anti-inflammatory. So there's different reasons. So we'll make a coleslaw on the last week that I'll use both. So, so instead of cutting straight through the core, I'm just going to like cut the head off, kind of cutting the brain off here, so to speak. So I'm going to cut it this way. And then I'm going to take off a couple of the, just like maybe four of in layers there. And I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to, now if this was a regular cabbage, it would be able to pound this down pretty flat. So, but this is a teeny tiny little cabbage. So, but what I want to do is just do thin little strips here. So instead of doing the shredded little ones, I'm doing long ones that I can put into the wraps. Just another way. You could do shredded. It's fine either way. I'm just going to show you another option. If you have a wrap, it's a nice way to go. So there's that. The onion I want to show you how to cut. Last week we went through quickly, but I want to just show you cutting an onion to not cry or cry the least, okay? My daughter is pretty sensitive. She will occasionally cry, but this does work pretty good. You want to first take the stem and cut that off. The root here, we're going to keep that because the juice is in the root that makes you cry. So we are going to work around with it, but we're not going to let it kind of totally chop it off. So I'm going to chop this off here. So I have a flat edge. So now I have a flat edge. And now I'm going to go right through the center of the root, but it's still holding it together. And we're going to use that to our advantage because we can go quicker. So I'm going to peel back one layer. Now, if this is a red onion, you just barely peel it back. This is a huge onion, so I'm not really concerned with saving lots of it. Okay, so just peel it back. If it falls off, it falls off. Don't worry about that. So now I'm going to do a horizontal cut. This is the most dangerous cut. So pay attention, but don't go through the root. Again, we're not going through it. We're using the root to hold it together and not release the juice. So I'm just going to do this. I might need to shimmy my knife a little bit to get back there, just like that. Don't be show-offy and go all the way. So now I'm going to just follow the lines of the onion. So I don't know, I think like umbrella, I don't know. So, but we're just going to follow. Again, I'm not going all the way through. I'm just going up towards that root, depending on how thin you want it chopped. So the last cut, it's all holding together. So I've been able to kind of go quickly. Now all I do is do like this, and it all falls pretty similar in size, as similar as you're going to get with Mother Nature. So there we go. Now we have chopped onion. So that's how easy it is. If you go quickly, that helps.
So easy.
It is. It is.
And beautiful.
It's pretty uniform. So, yeah. So there we go. So you'll get good at it. So, and if you wanted like half ringlets, then I don't do the horizontal cut because that's how I roast an onion. I just do half ringlets. Okay. So let's see. With the lettuce, I did want to show you the lettuce here. I got it with a red leaf. They didn't really have a dark green lettuce, but you can see here again loosely in a bag. You can use a baggie or use the bag that you get it from. Romaine and other like bunches, put a damp paper towel around the stem. You'll get at least 3-4 more days out of it. So, and here's where I talk about at the top, I've already chopped off in like rows. The top, the red, dark green is the most nutrient dense phytochemical wise. So I will chop down, I'll probably toss it about here because I know that's not got as much in it. It's not as dark green. So, but a lot of times I'll just rinse the tops and then just take it down here to make rows. Now this one's very cringly, but sometimes romaine lettuce works really nice to do rows like this. So, but I just want you to know how to store it and how to maybe make sort of some rows with it. So the other thing I did was for red pepper, I just want you to know this is easy, quick. Have red pepper jarred available. Now, once you open it, you have to use it within like a week, but you know, you can just use this as a veggie. Okay, so it's roasted red pepper. It doesn't have any oil added. It's just citric acid. So that's an easy one. You could use a real, you know, fresh red pepper, but I'm just saying these are ways to make it go quicker. So, okay, so I'm going to use a burrito style flour tortilla. I wanted to show you these whole wheat tomorrows. If you, those are here, if you want to like taste like a half of one, just to see what it's like. Now, here's the thing about tortillas. Tortillas are moderately processed foods, period, okay? I can't see the wheat, okay? It's not, you know, I know there's wheat in there, but also look at the ingredient list, even on this whole wheat one, okay? It's got a lot of things that I don't know the source of. I'm not saying that it's all bad, but I'm just saying this is processed, okay? So, and it contributes, one of these flour tortillas is like 210, you know, calories and 35 carbs. Now, I'm not a calorie counter, but that I know enough that tells me that's more than a carrier. That's contributing processed stuff into my body. So this one's a little less at 60. And how many grams of carb? 12, okay? So, but this one's hard kind of to make into a wrap like we're gonna do. So, but if you want to taste half of one, this is like, if you're like, Teresa, you're telling me I can't have flour tortilla. I'm not telling you can't. I'm just trying to inform you that I would not every day have a flour tortilla.
Where can you buy those?
What?
Where can you buy them?
Hy-Vee. Thank you for asking, because you can't find them at Walmart. So,
I just bought those just before I.
okay.
And they're right now, buy one, get one free.
Oh, buy one, get one free, Jennifer.
So the $4.49, so you get 2, and the net carb is like 5 or something.
Well, this one was, I thought, oh, the net carb, because it has 7 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
So yes, the net carb is 5. So 7 grams of fiber. So, but they add the fiber again, you know, this wasn't like they whole and they made it. So that's, so, you know, that, you know, I wouldn't want somebody to get all their fiber from that, but you know, it's not a horrible way to go. I just want you to be informed. So we're going to do this with the bigger tortilla so that we can wrap it and slice it. So I'm going to start with hummus. I'm doing store-bought just because it saves me time. It is going to have more salt if I made it. It's of course going to be more delicious if I made it. It also, the olive oil in here, I don't know the source of it, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not EVOO. Okay, they would not pay premium for EVOO to put in this. So, you know, you just have to go, okay, I know that. So, but I want to have the other vegetables in here, and this is the protein. It's got the chickpeas, so it's contributing that way. Here's the sweet Vidalia onion dressing. Now, I gave you a recipe for a walnut dressing. I don't have that today. I wanted to give you a dressing that you can make. It's a super great recipe. It's super easy. I've switched it out from the one I had for a couple years because the other one was so hard. You had to squeeze onions and get juice from it, like get juice from onions. So this one is delicious. I use this on my bulk salads a lot. I use it, I mean, you're just going to love it if you make it. But this is quick and easy. People love this. We're going to put 2 tablespoons on here. There's nothing special about this except for I do make sure it doesn't have too many, you know, sugar, and it only has 1.5 grams of saturated fat. I thought it was less than that. Oh, well. That's for 2 tablespoons, and we're using 2 tablespoons. So, you know, it's a great flavoring. We're not going to be drinking it, so I feel a little bit better. We're using it as a flavoring to add pizzazz here, and then we're going to have all the veggies in there. So I'm going to start off with the cabbage. I'm just going to line it. I'm going to keep everything about right here. I'm not trying to cover half. I just like this methodology better. See the nice lines there? Then I'm going to add my dark red leaf lettuce here. Make sure we get a good amount of that and try and make lines best I can. It's kind of squiggly. Then I'm going to add my red pepper for that. Oh, I also have my, I didn't bring out my carrot. I showed a carrot somewhere. I thought I did. Yeah, here we go. Totally forgot. So here's my orange shredded carrot. You can use fresh, chopped up if you want to. A lot of times for this, what I might do is take a carrot, peel it, and then take the peeler and make shreds with it, like long lines to put in here is probably what I would do. So, but shredded is here, we can use that. So, and then our onions. So we're just going to put a little bit there. Okay, so we're just going to wrap this up, and we're going to do it like we're tucking the bed, kind of military style underneath there. Tuck, tuck, roll tight, tuck. I actually went too far there. I should have left a ½ an inch around because it squeezes out anyways. The ends are for you to eat, and then you cut like 1 inch is what I like to do, because the ends fall apart. But let me just show you here how pretty that is. Look at that. So let me grab a plate. Grab a pretty plate. So put those on, and I'll make. I'll go ahead and show you one more thing, and then I'll make another one to make sure everybody in class here gets a chance to taste. But look how easy these are. Now, if you were to make it for work, like, you know, morning, make it for a couple hours. Now, my daughter has done this and she likes it. It's just a little soggy for me. I would probably do fresh red pepper or really drain the red pepper because they're a little soggy there. So, but it definitely could be done. So I wouldn't do it. I have done it like the night before for a demo the next morning. It's kind of chancing it. So it just doesn't keep for like a whole day. So, but if you wanted to substitute some different things, you could probably figure out how it would work for a full day. Okay, seaweed, they didn't have any seaweed at Hy-Vee's in sheets, but seaweed's another thing that you can use. Seaweed only has 10 calories and 1 gram of fiber, a whole sheet, guys. or I think maybe it's 20 calories for the whole sheet because it might be I don't, but it's next to nothing. So seaweed is like minimally processed. So it's not got a paragraph. It's got like, I think it has one ingredient. That's it, seaweed. So they roast it, so it brings out the flavoring a little more. Typically you can't add usually what I do, let's pretend this is a seaweed. I usually do half because it's more fragile. It can't handle as much hummus on it and as much of the liquid. It's just going to it's going to be hard to roll. So what I do is, I've got a mess here, so I want to show you what I typically do, and this is another option too. I'm going to show you in a second. Well, actually, let me show you with here what I do with let's pretend this is a square seaweed. I would do half, and then I put the vegetables this way, and then I do like a fish and chips kind of roll, like just like this. Okay, so you're kind of fish and chips, they kind of do like a cone like this. And to seal seaweed, all you need is water. You just take a dab of water when you've got it rolled up, and then you just press like a Band-Aid, and then it's done. It's stuff, okay? So that's what I do. And it's usually, you can't slice it like the nice rainbow pinwheels there. So, but it's a great carrier. It adds nice nutrition without carbs and all that. So just something to think about. I know some of you are like, no way, you're gonna catch me doing that, but that's okay. So here's another option is spring roll. I know we're over time. I'm just gonna real quickly show you this. These are they look like huge communion wafers. So they don't need to be refrigerated. Both Hy-Vee and Walmart have them. They're usually near the Asian stuff. They used to put them in the refrigerator section. They don't need to be. You could keep this at work. So obviously I can't roll it yet, but what all I do is, you're gonna watch, I'm gonna go over to the sink and just run it underwater one way and run it underwater the other. So just like this and this, make sure I get both sides covered, shake it off, and then we're gonna watch it. Now you can't put the hummus and the dressing in it. What you're gonna put here is usually you're going to put the vegetables, maybe some tiny shrimp cooked, or maybe some tofu already cooked, little tiny cubes. If you were Korean, you'd probably put a little pork in there, okay? Just saying, spring rolls usually are very Korean. But a lot of times Korean restaurants will just, or Thai, just put fresh veggies with a little Thai or basil in there. And they also put like some noodles, okay? My kids actually make lunches and stuff with this. So, but they love the texture of noodles, just a little bit of either rice noodles that you've cooked up or spaghetti that's raw. I mean, it's cooked. And then you just put a few strands in there. It just gives it a little texture in between all the vegetables, So yeah.
Is that like a rice patty?
This is rice. It's made from rice and tapioca. So now I can roll it, you can see. So now I can put veggies in it. Just real quickly, I'm just going to show you a couple veggies here. And then you usually dip it in a sauce. So you dip it in a soy sauce, a peanut sauce, a garlic and lemon, something. So let me just put a little bit there. But then we do burrito kind of wrapping. Tuck that end, tuck this end, and then we can roll. And, I kind of let it go a little long, but that's okay. I can still work with it, you see? And there we go. So I didn't seal this end very well, but you can't put it quite as much as you can as we did there, but it's a great carrier, and everybody can make their own, or you can make them. A lot of times I'll make 2 for each person and for dinner. So, and have a sauce, and my kids we take all the bottles down, sriracha, the Thai chili sauce, all those things, soy sauce, peanut butter, different things, and we put it in the center of the table. Everybody makes their own sauce. So rice vinegar, things like that, lemon juice. So you can just have a little bowl for everybody, and everybody makes their own little sauce that they dip it in. So
Come to have dinner. For lunch or something.
yeah. Okay. No. So there you go. So now you have some different options. Of course, you can use different things in your rainbow. You see the sheet, the recipe. I just wanted to show you some easy, quick options. You don't have to have all these, 6 things. I have my orange here. Even if you just have 3 things, that's still going to be great. So I know we're over on time. Make sure that you write out your action step, what you're planning on. We know life gets in the way and maybe you'll do something else. Maybe you'll not even do something. That's okay. This is life, guys. This has to happen without much effort, but you learn from it. So start, having conversations, start looking at products, start trying to add more plant seasonings, just small ways. So, and then those of you that are here in person, leave one behind at least with checked off with what you want, so that next week I'll have it here for you in case you don't remember yours. And then you can reflect next week and go, okay, this is what I set out to do. This is what happened in reality. This is my learning. Okay, so we're all learning. That's what I want you to go away with in these 4 weeks, is lots of great learnings.